Unhappy Wednesday, everyone. Coming to you live from our nest here at the Back Porch Saloon. This is the Unhappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio and part of the Green Legion Radio family. We thank you for joining us tonight from wherever you may be and whatever service you're using to tune in. So pull up a chair, turn up the volume, use the company dime if you're still stuck at work, and let's have some fun as Mike over here forgot to turn his phone down and put an end to day 3 of this week's hostage situation.
It's okay. It's okay. They just want to sell me insurance for my car. It's my
And we
warranty.
look forward to tomorrow being Friday Eve. Opening the show the same way every time, right? Just a couple of things. If you're tuning in on Facebook or Twitter, please do not forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe to the Green Legion. If those services are where you're comfortable, we totally get it. But the YouTube channel is the best way to view and listen and comment on any Green Legion radio show. So please do us a solid. Go to YouTube, search the Green Legion, click on that button for subscribe, hit the little bell next to it so you get a notification every time one of our shows goes live. And please share our channel everywhere. If you cannot catch our shows live, you can always watch and listen later on any of these services, but also on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Business with the Green Legion. You guys all know that the full details for the Kansas City trip are out. Deposits are $300 a piece. I've got Big John sitting across from me here, smashing his back porch sandwich that he loves so much. I believe he's in for Kansas City. I've got another buddy, Kevin, who is supposed to be in as well. So we'll be talking some more of that coming up. And then this Friday, March 10th, is when the early bird deposits, you can start putting your early bird RSVP in for the rest of the away games this year. The full details won't be there, but you can put in your deposit. And then, of course, with the Kansas City trip or with any other trip you put a deposit on, when the schedule comes out, if the dates do not work for you, you can always shift that money to another trip or get a full refund. If you want the full refund, do it rather quickly, as there is an expiration date on that. Moving on to our Midwest Eagles nest here. March 18th, Saturday, March 18th, a week and a half, trying to gather up some folks here. One of your team moms will be celebrating her birthday that day. She's actually, her birthday is actually St. Patrick's Day, but she will be here with us on that Saturday, the 18th, to watch some NCAA tournament fun. So come on up, say happy birthday to Michelle, and try not to buy her too many shots because I really don't want to deal with that later on.
Oh, no. You're babysitting. Man. That's happening.
Shit.
That's happening.
I don't even hire a babysitter for my kids when we go out anymore. That's my oldest job. Also, for any of you that are joining us for the Reds game on 4/15, the 3/18 date.
Sorry, the Phillies game.
The Phillies at Reds game on 4/15. That's 3/18. Saturday 3/18 would be your deadline to pay for your ticket or tickets. I know we've had a few people stop up tonight to pay, so we're about halfway there. It'd be great to get all that out of the way. Going to try to do the show again from here next week to give people another chance. If I don't know what your schedule is, we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
What else do we have? We also have a bracket pool set up on the CBS Sports website. Posted that link numerous times in our group. I might share that just public to see if anybody else wants in. $20 entry. You can enter up to 5 times if you got a family thing and you only want to use one login. So you got for that. And then start looking at ideas for an event in May. So look for posts on that. I'll probably put it up as like a poll, like here's some options. People add shit, like always, family, everybody's input, dude. That's the way we want to work it. But now that all that's out of the way, joined again by the general manager of the Back Porch, my partner in crime here, Mike Solon. How you doing, my man?
I'm good. You've
had a hell of a day.
It's been a day. It's yeah, absolutely. Just with invoices and people and just stupidity. Stupidity has been epic today.
Epic stupidity. It sounds like the general workforce.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. No, it really is the general workforce. It's absolutely ridiculous anymore.
Not speaking of the lovely server right over here, of course.
No.
But now that we've got you here, and summertime's coming, warm weather's coming, why don't you give us a little bit about what's going to go on here?
Well, I
in the
mean,
coming months, dude?
summertime's coming. Volleyball leagues are about to start April 24th. That's a huge influx for us. We have 4 sand volleyball courts here, and we do mixed co-ed sixes. And it's just a huge influx of people. My floor plan, basically, the footprint of my restaurant almost triples come summertime. I have a tiki bar that seats 40. We've got lighted cornhole boards for those of you that know what that is. I know it's kind of caught on nationwide now. It used to be just kind of a Midwest thing, and people kind of look at you funky when you said you were going to play some cornhole.
Yeah, funny story. So when I first moved out here, I was working right across the street over here at Office Depot. Right, I knew nothing about all your Midwest stuff, and so the guys over there invited me to the back porch to play cornhole, which to me sounded like a bad Beavis and Butthead episode. And I'm like, yo, dude, I don't get down like that. You know what I mean? And then I come over here and find
you guys
out.
Do that in public?
Back then, it wasn't acceptable.
But a lot of cool things have happened this week for me. I don't know how many of you guys out there are bourbon fans or not, but big accomplishment for the Back Porch and for myself personally is I got awarded a bottle of Michter's Celebration. I don't know if you guys have any idea what that is, but there's only 328 bottles of it released in the world every 4 years. I managed to get one here at the Back Porch, and it's actually the only bottle in the entire state of Ohio. And I'm working on doing a big dinner with that, where I'll have the master distiller drive up from Louisville. He's going to do a bottle signing for me.
Excellent.
He's going to, do the whole yards. And literally since I went on Facebook yesterday and went live with it, and I literally,
Did you get blown up?
I had to turn my phone off. Literally, I killed my ringer and everything else because I was at home trying to cook dinner, and my phone just wouldn't quit dinging. And, my lovely fiance looked at me, and she's like, are you shitting me? You're not at work. Like, can you do something? And I did. I turned it off, and it just filled. And, I've had almost 40 friend requests and people. I've gotten emails. I mean, they're coming at me from all directions, mainly because this bottle in the whiskey world, in the bourbon world, is the unicorn of unicorns. It's super exclusive, and the fact that I procured one is a miracle. Granted, it's a lot because of how hard I worked to get it, but it's a huge deal in the bourbon world. And people, like I said, I've got a guy that's talking about driving from New York City.
Holy shit.
To come to this dinner if I can get him a spot.
Dude, it's 12 hours.
Yeah. He's talking about driving from New York, coming into town that Sunday morning, going to my dinner where he'll be able to taste it, and then driving home to New York on Monday. And it's because literally, this bottle, this is a bottle that, generally speaking, I roughly know through the internet world, I probably know at least 800 to 900 bourbon people that I converse with here, there, the other, and literally nobody has this bottle. Most of us only ever seen it behind glass if you've been fortunate enough to tour Michter's distillery. And the fact that I've got one, and I'm actually going to open it, because this bottle usually sits in collections.
Sure.
Just for instance, I just saw the first one go up on secondary market yesterday, and it just sold for $16,000.
Yeah, so my guy at work, our plant manager, he is a big bourbon guy. And so I showed him your live video, and he's like, Michter's, like, did you get that shit in? I'm like, no, this is a different bottle. I said, watch and listen. And he's like, oh, and then he saw the label with the 24 candle note and everything in it. And so we Google searched it. And the first thing when you Google search, I don't know if it's a bullshit website or it was $30,000.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's legit. What it goes for. They've only ever had 6 releases of it.
Holy smokes.
Even like when I was talking to the Michter's rep, he actually drove from Louisville to see what I was going to do with the bottle. Wanted to make sure it was handled correctly. Everything else. And once he kind of, picked my brain and realized that I know what I'm talking about, he felt very
and
calm.
You are very passionate about it. I was over his house a couple of weeks ago, and you go into it. So tri-level, you go down in the down basement, and he's got a room up. So you open the door, and it's just woof. All you smell is bourbon. He's got bottles everywhere. It's hysterical. But like you ask him to pour you something, whether it's, your run of the mill or this or that.
Yeah.
And he's got a story behind every bottle he's got there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's fun. And that's what bourbon's for. That's, yes, I collect it, but I collect it to drink it.
Sure.
I like to share it with my friends. I like to tell them about it. I like to tell them what they're experiencing, and the story is everything. I mean, it really,
and
really
you can
is.
tell. You can see the passion of it when you start talking about you're like hugging the bottle and shit.
No, yeah, absolutely. No,
That's good
I mean,
stuff,
they're very much my children.
So this event that you're gonna do, do you know details? I mean, obviously not. Date or time,
I mean,
don't do that, right?
no, I'm working on it. Because of the outpour that I've had, I think once I release the price on it, it's going to separate the men from the boys.
For sure.
Yes, everybody wants to be there. I will say it's going to be in the neighborhood of $700 a person. And actually, with the outpour that I have, I'm pretty sure that I'm actually going to have to do a lottery, to decide who gets to come, who doesn't.
That's a nice position to be in.
Yes.
Here, let me pick your name and you give me $700.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that's crazy. Yeah, and I've had people that I've explained. Yeah, I mean, it's $700 for 1 ounce of this liquid. Granted, it's going to include dinner, but if you go to the distillery, it's $1,100 an ounce at the distillery.
Yeah.
I'm actually on the lower end of it because, I want to share it.
Sure.
But at the same time, I have to make money on it.
It is a business.
So I am putting together, like I said, a very exclusive event. I will actually be shutting down the back porch
And
just for those 20 people.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
The last thing I need is some guys trying to enjoy this incredibly rare bourbon is some drunken buffoon,
Comes in with a cowbell and
Right.
starts yelling and screaming.
ordering his Bud Light, drinking his Fireball.
There's your Fireball guy right over there.
Yes. Big John.
Big John over there.
But so that was my big thing of the week. That was, it kind of, like I said, it's putting us on the map nationwide for what we do here with bourbon. I mean, in any given time, I have roughly 130 labels behind the bar.
Yeah, and he did a nice list up there. I know Big Mike that comes in for the games.
Yeah.
He's the first thing he does when he gets here. I think he orders an appetizer and then watches the bourbon list.
Which
one do I want tonight?
Yes. Oh, yeah, no, I mean, that was the first time I met him. He's like, I can't believe I've never been here. I can't believe.
From where? Is it Amelia or Batavia? Or
yeah,
something
he's
like that?
about 25 minutes away. Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm very proud of what we've done or what I've done with the bourbon selection here. Just like I said, putting us on the map. So that's our big thing. I mean, a lot of things going on here.
So we got some reactions to your things you're doing here. Russ Taylor would like to volunteer to help apply sunscreen to the ladies over 21 during volleyball. Take care of your skin all the time.
Absolutely. Come on in. Yeah. We can make that a thing.
It's a night tournament, brother. Don't get excited. Who else do we have? Fito's all excited about bourbon. So Fito is Mr. Whiskey Help.
Okay.
Fito, just so you know, this is correct me if I'm wrong, it's a whiskey that's in that bottle, right?
Yeah, it's actually a whiskey. It's not a bourbon because it is a blend of 4 rye barrels and 3 bourbon barrels, the oldest being of 30 years. I think the youngest is a 22-year-old bourbon. And it's just, supposedly it's phenomenal. I mean, I'll find out here in about a month or so when I have this dinner.
Hell yeah.
It sets the bar. It is what bourbon whiskey lovers want and dream of.
305 Sports Babe in the room. How you doing, Ashley? You taking care of our guy down there? Did he pop the question yet? Inquiring minds want to know. I'm just trying to help Chris out by being your sponsor. And what did I just tune into? Yeah, you walked into a shit show, hon. We're talking bourbon and volleyball and sunscreen and
Bourbon.
Mike's got his bourbon now. Can't help it. Yeah, that's who I am. All right, so Russ Taylor says $1,100 an ounce. I got something the ladies can suck out of me for less than that.
But does it taste as good? Do you eat passion fruits?
I think he's more of an asparagus guy.
Oh, I can smell that comment.
We got Kenny about to choke on his sandwich over there with that one. All right. So good stuff, man. Sounds like a fun year coming up.
Yeah, no, it is.
Excellent.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on.
And as always, we look forward to, August, September when our shit show starts all over again.
Let's go.
So, a couple of guys already. Boner of the week has to be this. Boner of the week has to be that. I think it's pretty obvious.
But yeah.
I mean, so the boner of the week, a couple of you guys already got in on it. I don't think it's a shock to anyone. Every week, I wonder how I'm going to find a good candidate for it. And every week, somebody just delivers dumbassery.
Oh, yeah.
It just happens. And this week's winner is the obvious Ja Morant. Right? So the same dipshit who was playing basketball games with teenagers last September proceeded to beat the crap out of one of them and then went home and got a gun from his house to wave it around these kids, right? The same dipshit who threatened a mall cop a few days before that altercation with the teenager. Well, he's back in the news again, and for all the wrong reasons again. Apparently, a little after 3 a.m. on March 4th, he appeared on Instagram Live holding a gun while rapping along with the music at a Colorado strip club.
Absolutely. When will these people learn that strip clubs do not work out well for anybody? I mean, granted, don't get me wrong. You know, they have their time, they have their place. But if you are a celebrity or a multi-million-dollar athlete of any kind, it's just going to be bad news.
I mean, when you make, and Morant is a huge star,
Right.
big money. How these guys at that level don't just hire teams of people to stop them from doing shit like this is beyond me. I just don't understand.
I mean, come on, our president can't manage to pull that off.
I know. Family programming at its finest, folks.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
take all comers here. But our president can't walk up a flight of stairs going into his own airplane.
Well, I mean, past, present, social media is a killer anymore. I mean, I don't care who you are. You have to know that for everything you do, there is a camera in your face. Somebody's recording you, and it's all going to go down. Now, I mean, you could just go on Instagram or social media and just write your own death sentence.
Yeah.
And wave your gun around with probably a bag of weed in the other hand, and God only knows what else.
This kid, somebody needs, I think, did he get suspended for 50 games? I think it's 50 games. Pending all kinds of investigations. Look, Colorado's pretty liberal, laid back, dude. Like, you can't be out there waving guns around.
No.
You know what I mean? This isn't here in Ohio where you just don't even need a permit. You just walk around.
Well, I mean, it just feeds into the fact that, that the rest of the world looks at us as like the Wild Wild West.
There we are.
I know.
It's getting worse.
It's out of control.
Talk about boner of the week. So the kid's he's making his money with basketball, obviously, but how much do you think he cost himself in just strictly endorsements with this latest dump?
Oh, endorsements deals, he's done.
It's got to be $100 million.
Yeah, 100%.
You talk about McDonald's, Gatorade, all
shoe deals, you name it. It's all gone.
You're out, dude.
Yeah.
And it's just especially the shoe deal, right? Your basketball. That's your biggest endorsement line is the shoe.
100%.
Your top stars have the shoe. Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, AI.
I mean, even if you're not setting records and everything else, your shoes will be around forever.
Yes.
I mean, my brother-in-law is a sneakerhead, and collects all those. And, he can't tell you stats and this and that and the other, but he can tell you what basketball player's shoes he has from what year and what color and blah, 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 blah.
How many pairs of Jordans does he have?
He's got one pair of every Jordan's ever made. He's got a case in his basement and actually has a giant Jumpman behind it, etched in glass. And in there, he has a size 10.5 of every Jordan ever made.
Holy shit.
But he also sells sneakers across the country.
He does the eBay and all that.
Right,
kind of
absolutely.
like you do with bourbon, he does with sneakers.
Yes. So 3-4 years ago, he flew into New Orleans when the NBA All-Star game was there. I think that was 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
He flew in with $10,000 in cash, bought a bunch of shoes, got a bunch of stuff autographed, mailed it all off, and flew back out with almost $70,000 after it was all said and done. Yes.
Yeah, that's terrible. Man.
And this is moving shoes.
Shoes.
You
ever seen that YouTube video? With the
No.
creepy bitch singing shoes? I'll show it to you after the show. It's wild. I should open the show with that.
But I mean, but him losing that shoe deal, any shoe deal, I mean, like when you say endorsements, has to be a catastrophic amount of money lost. And I mean, does he care? No, he's probably too stupid to care.
Yeah. Russ Taylor thinks it's closer to the area of 175 million. Dude, I threw out 100 million. It's just like it could be 200 million. I mean, who the hell knows how much these guys are making?
Well, I mean, he's lucky if he doesn't actually do any. I mean, he's rich enough to buy himself out of jail time.
Yeah.
With the right lawyers.
Considering he's lucky enough to not have hurt anyone with the damn thing.
Right.
Or killed anyone with the damn thing.
Right.
But yeah.
And not to mention, he'll be barred from the strip club. That sucks. Who wants to be barred from your local strip club?
Right. Like, yeah, you got to do some messed up shit to get banned from a strip club, dude. Like, you can be either waving a gun around or you're up there trying to grab ass or some side of just absolute dumbassery.
No, absolutely. He's definitely the boner of the fucking
week. He's the boner of the fucking week. There's no doubt about it. Kenny agrees. Agent Zero got suspended for a year. Okay. Oh, there it is. He's suspended for a year. Russ Taylor also says, for the record, all the things that AI did, AI's crew knew to carry the drugs and weapons and took care of all the ladies. AI never got caught holding anything.
No.
More power to him.
Absolutely.
He was smart enough to have the people around to take care of the shit.
Yeah.
Exactly, Kenny.
Yeah.
He had fuck you money.
Yeah, absolutely. Let somebody else take the hit and then pay them while they're in jail, pay their family while they're in jail.
Get that commissary up, put them in Club Med somewhere, and you're good to go. Oh God, Fito. How about when Plaxico Burress shot himself? Can't remember.
That was awesome.
It was Plaxico Burress, and that's when we started. So you remember there was that
Shoot me.
Right. There was that XFL player. What was it? He hate me or something?
Yeah,
he hate me or whatever. And then Plax shoots himself, and we started calling him "Me Shoot Me."
Well, because our buddy Kenjo, who's a Giants fan, he's a good guy. Even though he's a Giants fan, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
But he actually tried to get that jersey made,
and they wouldn't do it.
And they wouldn't make it.
Yep. People got T-shirts made though.
Yeah.
I remember Birds fans walking around in Giants T-shirts. Like, what the hell are you doing? You turn around, it's me shooting me.
Yeah. Idiot.
Grease the poles, baby.
Hey, I mean, it's Darwinism at its finest. I mean, flat out,
I mean, look, dude, if I was going to carry a gun anywhere, I'm not wearing sweatpants. Okay? That's what Plax was wearing that night.
Yeah.
A pair of sweatpants at some club with a gun on him.
With no safety on. I mean, for all I know, it could have been a Glock, doesn't have a safety, whatever. But it was cocked and loaded, dumbass.
Right. Professional football player. And, like, at the time, he was a big star, right?
He was
huge.
He
was a big guy. And it just, I can't figure these guys out. What do you need it for? There's not enough people around that handle idiots if they come there yet.
It's Darwinism. I'm all about it. You know, I live on the line of legalize all of it. Let them all work themselves out. 100%.
Take all the warning labels.
There's too many people in the world. Let them kill themselves. It's fine. If you're too stupid to not know to smoke a cigarette while using a can of Aquanet, you know what? You don't deserve to be here. Die. It's okay. You know,
all the warning labels.
Yeah, take it all off. Absolutely.
It's like one of those
if your coffee burns your vagina, you know what? Then you shouldn't have had it in your crotch. I mean, let's just be honest. Let it go.
It's like one of those things where you see somebody about to wander in traffic, and somebody, wait, and you just go, shh, let it happen.
Let it happen.
Just let it go.
Let it happen. You know, it's one less person we have to pay for in the long run. You know, let it go.
All right. Green Leaf Radio's Unhappy Gilmore Show, proudly brought to you from the Back Porch Saloon tonight. A very family environment. All right. I needed that laugh. Holy crap.
I'm just saying. Too many people in the world.
You're right. Kill them all and let God sort them out. All right. Let's go.
Full Metal Jacket. Love it.
No, Samantha's in the room. I walked in at a great time. Yeah, you did.
It was a good time.
Yep. Mike's had enough of people today, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
So,
yeah, stupid people at that.
All right. So let's get down to a little business here.
All right.
Defensive coordinator, Sean Desai, right? Talked about it on this show last week. I was not happy about this. I wanted to keep both coordinators from in-house. I know you were an advocate of going outside the network if it made sense.
If it made sense. And it was only because I like the fresh eyes aspect. I like something a little different. You know, maybe you gain a little more knowledge. You know, it's not like they were going out to get some rookie guy.
That's true. Desai, but he was also, Sean Desai was the DC in Seattle last year.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, that team was suspect as a whole.
They were.
I mean, how much do you have to work with?
Come on, Geno Smith. Don't worry, we'll get to him in a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
Robert Quinn. Get right to it. Like I said, I wasn't thrilled about it. With Denard Wilson leaving. I wanted that job to go to Denard, and I thought he had earned it. When you look at our pass defense last year, led the league in yards per game at 179 per game. We had 70 sacks, so that helps. But when you consider Gannon's scheme, it's not like you dialed up a whole lot of blitz.
No.
So you were getting a ton of that pressure with just 4. I mean, how much of that came from coverage?
Sure.
And I'm not taking anything away from the players, Bradbury, Slay, CJ.
But you got to think that he was Gannon's boy.
Who's that? Denard?
Yeah.
Well, and he was up for the job.
Right.
So this is what we talked about last week was I was wondering how this would play out because Sean Desai's background is actually defensive back as well when you trace his lineage back.
Right.
So how are they going to coexist? Well, they're not going to, right? Because now Denard left. Now, I'm not going to be surprised if Denard pops up in Arizona with Gannon as his DC or whatever, coaching somewhere on the staff. But,
But this is the natural evolution of what happened. I mean, you had to know he was gone the second he didn't get the job.
Yeah.
Because Desai's going to bring his own boys in.
Desai's going to bring his own boys in, and I think there was going to be a clash there. I forget if it was Russ last week or Keenan thought that it would – the hope was that there would be an initial and then things would just cool off. Obviously, that didn't happen. Denard wanted out. I can't blame him. Look, his responsibilities were DB coach and defensive passing game coordinator.
Right.
And we led the league in passing defense last year.
Yeah.
So the man did his job. Now, everybody on the defense did their job last year, but that man excelled. And he got all-pro years out of 3 of these dudes, right? You know, to let him walk out the door, I didn't like the Desai hire, to be honest with you. I didn't – just if you look at his lineage, there's just not a whole lot there that tells you – and I think the most telling thing about it is that we all thought Nick Sirianni was going to be a little bit of a puppet for Howie.
Right.
Well, did you see what happened with this? Howie and Jeff wanted Denard.
Denard, right.
But they allowed Sirianni. Okay, you want Desai. You know, you're tagging yourself.
Right.
And Coach Nick we trust.
And Coach Nick we do trust.
Until proven otherwise.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, and this next year, I mean, obviously, I don't think we had the highest of expectations going into this year. But now the bar's set.
Yeah.
Now we do, you know, the fan base, you, me, you know, all of you out there, you know, now we have expectations for next year, you know, which is good and bad. You know, now there is a pressure next year, rolling into next year on the team, you know, to perform. We expect this. Obviously, you know that Jalen's coming. Jalen's ready. Jalen wants it. You know, I think the rest of the guys, I think they all want it, you know, but
and offensively, we're okay. It's, you know, it's the shuffle on the defense where I'm more concerned. That's where most of your big ticket free agents are. We can have all the expectations we want. But the bottom line is, once we rework Lane Johnson, and I forget who the other one is, we're only going to end up with $39 million in cap space.
Right.
And we've got draft picks to sign, which is why I think that number 30 pick we're going to trade out and get mid-round. Because we go 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third, and then 2 in the 7th.
Well, I mean, you got to believe that this upcoming draft, which I'm excited for, I want to watch it.
Looking forward.
You know, I want to see what Howie does, what kind of magic he pulls out of his ass. Because he seems to all the time.
In Howie returns?
Yeah, no, 100%. Man, that guy's shit lightning bolts. I mean, it's crazy.
This past year was nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, just nuts.
Yeah.
But now that, like you said before, that expectation, that bar has been set. And now you've had turnover at both coordinator positions. You lose a guy like Denard Wilson, and you're not bringing back all these guys.
Right.
So expectations, and then you have reality.
Right. But I mean, you know, but the pressure, I mean, I mean, obviously it's on the team, but it's more on the coaching staff. It's more on Sirianni now. It's damn sure going to be on Desai. I mean, you want to hear the Boo Birds lose their shit.
No, let that defense flop.
Right.
Oh, yeah, no. That crowd won't stay.
Boo Birds will come out in force within the first quarter.
We'll be greasing the poles for a whole different reason. To keep snipers off the poles.
Right. Right. I mean, you know it's going to happen. I don't know. You know, I'm trying to be cautious about how much I'm buying into next season yet. You know, but I'm always that guy.
So am I.
I mean,
I think that's a Philly thing.
Yeah,
I really do. And you know, the Eagles. How many times? Almost. And you finally get it done in 17. We're right there this year. Really should have won that Super Bowl.
Should have.
You know,
but defense cost us, so that's why. You know, Gannon had to go.
Well, you saw what happened with that, right? They're all going to leave together.
Yeah.
And Howie's like, stay here and interview.
You got an interview. Why don't you hold off?
Why don't you just stay here?
We got phone calls and get some McDonald's.
Right.
And somebody will be out by to pick you up.
Go hang out. Kyler will be here soon.
But I mean,
he wants you to reach the Crispix for it.
I mean, and we're not going back to the Super Bowl. We've already beat that horse to death. But yeah, something had to change.
Something had to change.
Defense did.
I just don't like. I don't like losing Denard Wilson. I thought he was a stud, and a guy that was perfectly capable of running that defense. But again, in Nick we trust.
In Nick we trust.
Right? You got pushed all the right buttons last year.
We have to, but I mean, but I mean, even that, when I say, I mean, obviously I trust in Howie and Jeff Lurie. I love them, and we say in Nick we trust. I mean, I remember years back, I said, yeah, Chip Kelly's the man. I trust in that guy. He's got it going on. He's going to do this rotational line thing.
Just so you guys all know, I was not that guy.
He wasn't. I was.
Not that guy.
I did. I'm sorry. I until I watched him really screw that team up. You know,
He
at first.
came in with that high octane offense, right?
Right.
Snapped the ball every 5.5 seconds and built on speed, and then he got rid of everyone who could run fast.
With all the speed. I know.
And they gave him full control.
I know. That was the year that we lost Shady.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with the DC. You know, time will tell. I guess we'll just have to wait and see if Nick was right.
Right.
And hopefully he was. Because it's good. I think it's going to take, and here's my other concern. It's going to take a more exceptional.
He said, I know what the fuck I'm doing.
It's going to take a more exceptional coaching job.
No, it is.
This year.
It is.
Because you are not going to have Hargrave, Cox. You may not have Bradbury or CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Well,
all of those guys might be out the door.
And like I said, I mean, I think what showed, and I think the reason why Gannon, they were so ready to just let him walk. You know, granted, he's got a big head. Absolutely, he wants a head coaching job. Who doesn't? Sure. It's money. It's notoriety. It's everything that you want.
Well, you had all those reports that we had actually offered him more.
Yeah.
And I said it on this show a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, don't get hung up on that. It was going to you're a coordinator. The next step is head coach.
Coach.
You know,
that's
the
what you
money
want.
Was probably somewhere close enough to where he was like, no, I'm going to take the promotion.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's stupid not to.
You know, but I don't see how you don't let him go. I mean, clearly we got out-coached.
Oh, that second half Gannon had no answer for anything.
No.
It was terrible.
No.
Terrible. Even if he wasn't interviewing in Arizona, I'd have left his ass there anyway. you go hang out in the desert, you bum. Get your ass out of here. Maybe somewhere out in the desert you can eat some peyote when Aaron Rodgers learn how to dial up a blitz.
Something.
Prick. Anyways. So, yeah, moving on defensive coordinator. We'll just have to wait and see. Again, though, it's going to take – Desai's going to have to be a better defensive coordinator significantly than Gannon was.
Right.
Because of – I don't want to say lack of talent. There's still going to be talent. It's not going to be anywhere near what we saw this year.
No.
It's just not.
But, again, I mean, obviously you know what the focus in the draft is going to be.
Hope. I mean,
it has to be on the defensive side of the ball.
We're going to get to one of my biggest concerns in the defense is the tackle position.
Right.
So if you look at it, right, so we were 17th in the league against the run.
Yes.
Right? That's a defensive tackle's primary responsibility is to clog those holes up in the middle.
Right.
And we went through that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we answered that. Well, how we answered that?
Well, eventually. I mean, we went through a horrifying 5-game stretch from weeks 5 through 10, giving up 144.5 yards a game.
Couldn't stop anything up the middle.
And that was against Arizona, Dallas, Pittsburgh, Houston, and Washington. So only Houston and Pittsburgh really featured a featured back out of that group.
Right.
And, you know, in Dameon Pierce, who is the real fucking deal. And then Najee Harris. And Harris only had 32 yards in that game.
Yeah.
As a team, they gashed us. So prior to the game against Indy, just like you were, Howie says, well, we're going for it. Yep. Let's fix the problem.
Let's go.
We go sign Sue. We go sign Linval Joseph. You remember when we did the pregame show at Nevermore out there, and Quimby was on the fence? I'm like, oh, no. Let's get nasty. Let's step on some heads. Let's be ruthless.
Let's go.
And it worked, right?
It did.
Results were solid. We held Taylor to under 40 yards in the second. It forced a fumble after that opening drive. Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry were also held in check down the stretch. But overall, we were mid against the run. So Davis had gotten hurt, and a lot of people tried to point to that as a problem. The problem is it was already becoming an issue prior to that injury. Right. It played a role, but like I said, the problems were already there. Down the stretch, the run D was okay, but not great. Now you look ahead to this year. Sue, Joseph, Cox, and Hargrave likely are all out the door. All four of them.
You know what? And it might be, but, you know, honestly, if they're healthy enough, they're still going to be out there on the sidelines for us to bring in.
If it's needed later on.
Right.
If they don't get a deal somewhere else.
Right.
Like Hargrave is going to sign a big deal.
Well, Hargrave's
Yep.
Yeah.
Hargrave's going to get a big sum of money somewhere and a multi-year deal, and he deserves it.
He does.
Big year, 11 sacks, I think Hargrave had at the defensive tackle position. I mean, it was huge. Cox will go probably sign a mercenary contract somewhere, a 1-year deal with a bunch of incentives. But then Sue and Joseph gone too. They may sign somewhere else right away, or they may be like they were this year, keeping themselves ready to jump on board somewhere. That leaves Jordan Davis and Milton Williams as the starters, with Marlon something Samoan, and Marvin Wilson as the backups.
We're not racist at all. I swear to God, we're just English challenged.
Right.
And some last names, kind of, you know.
All right, I'll try to get it.
Sorry, Samoa Nation.
Tuiai Pulotu. I think that's.
Thank you. No, that was good. That was good.
Fuck off. Him and Marvin Wilson are as the backups.
Yeah.
So, Marlon.
I mean, you got to at least attempt the last name. Even if you slaughter, you got to attempt the last name.
We'll call him Marlon Tui.
There you go.
Was a 6th round pick back in 2021. Played in 9 games in 2022 before landing on the IR with a knee injury. Marvin Wilson, undrafted free agent in 2021, signed with the Browns, waived by Cleveland right before the season. Bird signed to the practice squad in September, and he's basically been there ever since, playing in just 2 games, one each in 21 and 22, tallying a total of 7 tackles. Right now, these are your primary backups to Jordan Davis, second year,
right,
and Milton Williams. Milton Williams had a good year last year. But that's your defensive tackle corps.
Again, I mean, you know, I know you watch way more college football than I do.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just due to time constraints. I just, you know, I don't
work on Saturdays.
Right.
I refuse to work weekends.
I know.
Unless it's to do shit like this.
Right. But I also refuse
to get
on
my 12-ounce curls.
See, the difference is you refuse to work on Saturdays. I refuse to get up before 9 a.m.
Yeah, well. There's a yin and yang.
Maybe Jalen Carter a ball from Georgia.
Probably not, but maybe.
Well, with his freaking record now, I mean, who knows? You know?
Right.
So last week we did talk a little bit on this show about, you know, some potential picks at that 10 spot. The only thing I concentrated on was the 10 spot because I do think we're drafting a player there. I don't think we're trading out of that spot. One thing I did tackle last week with that was, and the room knows it, I called out all the interweb dipshits that want us to take Bijan Robinson out of Texas.
Yeah.
Once again, guys, I'm not saying that Robinson isn't worthy of the number 10 pick. He is. But the Philadelphia Eagles show you year in and year out they do not invest high dollars or high draft capital in the running back position. They build from the trenches outward, and they believe at the running back spot is a place where they can save money and plug and play with a body type or whatever. So what I thought, the number 30 pick, because you don't want to have to pay 2 first-rounders. So that number 30 pick, trade out, get a couple more mid-round guys, which is where you build your roster and where Howie likes to live. And you looked at that Saturday, late third, early 4th round, when a guy like Keandre Miller out of TCU could be sitting there, 6 foot, 225, had a massive year last year. Sure, if we're going to go running back in the draft, I would look right in there. I would be probably the most shocked person on earth outside of wherever Quimby's currently residing. I think it's in fucking Grand Cayman again. He likes to share the pictures of the sunset just to piss everyone off. Outside of him, I would be probably the most shocked person on earth if we took a running back anywhere before the 3rd round.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't happen.
No, it shouldn't. And Miles Sanders was 2nd round, and I thought that was I was amazed.
No, it's okay because something completely off the wall is going to happen. And, you know, and this is completely like, this is like Pluto off the wall.
What do you got?
What's the crazy like scenario? What's the absolute like just, you know, people just want to watch the world burn kind of scenario that Ezekiel Elliott gets cut?
Oh, God, no.
And we pick him up for pennies on the dollar for a ground and pound. Who cares? You know, it was like
that
when we
single-handedly wrecked anyone else's chances of getting a big contract. At the
okay, I get that. But what happened when we picked up LeGarrette Blount?
True story. Very true. I don't.
He was part of that team.
Huge part. And if you ask Quimby, he would tell you LeGarrette Blount is his 2nd favorite player in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles for that exact reason.
Right.
Yeah.
We picked him up for peanuts. You know, he had a chip on his shoulder, so he was running angry again. I mean, the last thing I want is a hot mess Ezekiel Elliott on the Eagles. But in a weird, crazy way, scenario will never happen. But if it did, how angry is that guy running?
Oh, he's probably
Especially when we
against
play
Dallas. Oh, or at Dallas.
Right.
Yeah.
Let him sacrifice his body for us for nothing.
That's what we did with Miles Sanders.
100%. 100%.
I would be floored.
I know.
I'd probably need like a defib if we took a running back at that.
Yeah.
One out of shock, the other one out of anger.
Right.
Right, because there's just bigger holes. The defensive tackle position, offensive line.
No, there is. No,
Yeah,
I mean, like I said, I fully expect the first 2 rounds of our draft are defense.
You think it's all defense?
I think it's a shame if it's not. I think that's where our biggest issue is.
Depending on what happens with the free agency stuff needs to get figured out before the draft.
Well, yeah.
It has to.
Right.
Because, I mean, most of your mock drafts going into last week had us taking a corner. Had us taking this corner right here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even.
This kid,
I'll be honest with
Devin
you.
Witherspoon.
I don't even look at the mock drafts.
You know, yeah, I mean, I was just trying to get a barometer of where.
No, I know. But I mean, honestly, where's your barometer at? I mean, look at how he does.
I know he's all over the place.
I mean, shit, for
well,
all
this
we.
year he doesn't have the money to do that though.
Well, I
Right?
know,
It's
but
not like you can just go get another 8.
no, but he has 2 first-round draft picks that he can easily trade out of
He does.
and go. I mean, we could end up with 8 second-rounders. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like some dumb shit like that.
I tell you, who's in the best position is, especially after the Jalen Carter thing, is the Chicago Bears.
Oh yeah,
They're walking into this draft with already a bunch of picks. They have the #1 overall pick. They do not need a quarterback. Justin Fields is fine. You just got to put some freaking skill players around him
sure.
and get an offensive line that it can.
No, I like Justin Fields.
He's big, strong, fast. The kid can do it. You got to get some skill, but they have $92 million in cap space. And now, Jalen Carter is going to fall. That whole thing's going to cost him at least 5 slots in the draft.
Sure.
The Bears could trade back to 2, making sure Houston gets who they want and collect picks. They could then trade down again to like 7 with Indianapolis.
All right, calm down,
Get
Howie.
More.
Right, I get that.
And still be able to get Jalen Carter.
But I mean, how many GMs
Picture that shit?
think like that?
Well, that's just it. With $92 million in cap space and the positioning of everyone in the draft who needs a quarterback and where the Bears sit without needing one, they could completely turn that whole franchise on a dime in one night.
I agree with that.
One night. Well, one weekend.
But I mean, and obviously, I don't pay as much attention to the front office of any other team other than the Eagles. So I have no idea who the Bears GM is.
Well, he's got it. There's some, if he fucks this up, he's out.
You think he's on the phone with Howie? Like, what should I do? What should I do, Howie?
And Howie's over there like Mr. Burns. You should give it all to me.
Right. Actually, what you're going to do is you're going to trade me this and this, and I'm going to give you that.
Vito, they're going to franchise tag Pollard. They already did. That was
Yeah, that
the deadline
happened.
yesterday was 4
Yes.
p.m. They franchise tagged him.
Yeah, that happened yesterday.
We did not franchise tag anyone, and it's because we just can't afford to pay anyone in that average of the top 5.
Oh, we
salaries.
didn't pull a Factory of Sadness move and franchise tag our kicker? Who franchise tags a kicker? What is that?
Madness.
I know they do. I know. I love them for that.
Denards in Baltimore.
Yes.
Who did?
Denards in
Denards in Baltimore.
Denards in Baltimore.
No, they got themselves a stud.
There you go. That just come across?
That was earlier today.
Kenny's giving us an update. Oh, it was earlier today. I got wicked busy this afternoon at work and did not have time to check anything. I did all this last night. So I was walking in kind of blind tonight. But yeah, so that to me, the defense right now, now it could change if we lose Bradbury and Gardner Johnson.
Sure.
And then the linebackers, TJ's probably a rookie contract casualty.
Yeah.
Kazir White's gone.
Yeah, I saw him love. Yeah.
I mean, you got all 3 levels of defense, you're going to need help. So you're probably right. It's defense. But, I mean, you got some good offensive tackles, some guys out of the Big Ten, which, I like the guys that are big, strong, cold weather.
Yes. No, 100%. I will never, ever complain if the Eagles front office drafts defensive or offensive line with their first 4 picks.
Yeah, you can't complain.
I'm
Go
down.
from the trenches outward. That's the way we vote. That's the way we do it.
Yes.
And again, in Howie we trust. So he's going to have to work some real magic. Last year he had more capital, money, a couple, some picks and stuff to play with. This year he's got a couple of first rounders, way less money, and that's why I think he trades out in that 30.
Well, I mean, when it comes to the draft and it comes down to your wide receivers and everything else, there's a lot of value in the later rounds, especially now with the portal.
Yeah.
You know, in college, I mean, you're finding these kids coming out of D2 and D3 schools that could have played D1, but they didn't want to sit 2 years behind Joe Blow at Ohio State or Alabama or, you know, wherever.
It's true.
You know, and they're picking them up late.
Yeah.
And then, but I mean, that comes down to your scouts too.
Well, I mean, you know, your first round picks are your impact players, right?
Right.
Same thing with your second round guys. You know, rounds 3 through 5 is where you build your depth in your roster with guys that are going to be, you know, very, very capable backups, if not starters or stars at some point. And then 6 and 7 is where you kind of fill in spots to see if they're going to make it.
Oh, yeah, no,
or end up
you're-
on
yeah.
the practice squad.
Yeah, you're throwing Chinese stars at a wall, see what happens. Maybe
Ryan-
this guy's good.
Ryan Brissy here out of Clemson, 6'5", 305. Nation's top recruit in 2020 was 2 times. We went over all this last week, but
Right.
If we're going to draft defensive line, I mean, who knows? Maybe Jalen Carter does fall down there.
I mean, maybe it does.
If he's there at 10, I think he's the pick. This was a separate sheet from last week. That's why I have it in the middle. No, it's not in it. I got Mike all fucked up over here.
I'm looking for the notes. I'm like, wait a minute. You're
why I
looking at
brought
this
this
paper. I don't have this piece of paper. I'm like trying to read along with some of the highlights, and I'm like, yeah, man, you didn't give me that information. I don't have that.
That's why I had it in the middle here. So, I mean, good kid out of Clemson, but they're looking corner. It's going to be one of those 3 levels of the defense. I don't see him taking an offensive lineman. The number one thing with the draft is always what? Take the best player available at a position of need. Right? That's the key. And unfortunately, this year we're going to have a lot of positions in need.
Sure.
All 3 levels of the defense, and you can justify an offensive lineman too, and a running back.
Well, and I mean, are you taking what's his name from Penn State?
Who's this? Joey Porter Jr.?
Yeah.
This kid.
His name's got to be on there.
It is. Porter Jr. is there.
Because I know you love Penn State, so there's no way you didn't talk about him.
But I'm not so I'm not so biased that you can't spread it around. This kid, Devin Witherspoon, mind you, Illinois. So still
Hold
Big
on,
Ten.
with Joey Porter Jr. though, like if you draft him, do you get his dad too?
You get his dad at the games.
Right.
He's probably on the sideline.
Right, on the sidelines, maybe at camp,
Being a pain
maybe
in the ass.
throwing his input in, whatever. May not
Spear
be a bad
tackling
thing.
Sean Desai when he fucks something up.
Yes.
But this kid, so I don't know if you watched last week, but this kid, Devin Witherspoon, and I'm going to read it again. I know these guys all heard it last week. 2018 Pensacola Defensive Player of the Year in high school, intercepting 7 passes as a senior. Signed with Illinois out of Pine Forest High School. Mind you, at the time was a 0-star recruit. 0. He started 3 of 13 games that he played in, breaking up 2 passes, leading the Illini with 13 special teams tackles amongst his 33 total stops. 2020 starts 7 games, 33 tackles, 2 picks, 3 fumble recoveries, and 10 games in 2021 where he recorded 52 tackles, 8 for a loss, and topped his squad with 9 pass breakups. Became one of the top defenders on the nation's top scoring defense in 2022, receiving first-team Associated Press All-American honors and being named Big Ten Defensive Back of the Year after recording 17 passes defense, 3 interceptions, 41 tackles, 2.5 for a loss in 12 games. Was a finalist for the Jim Thorpe Award winner. You want to talk about a kid that works hard? From a 0-star recruit
Right, I get that.
to that?
But that's coaching too.
It is. But we're talking about Illinois. It's not like it's Michigan or Penn State or Ohio State where they've got elite coaches.
Okay, I know. Again, though, but now you're talking about where the portal comes into play and everything
There was
else.
no portal.
Well, I know. I mean, he got drafted there. Recruited there. You know, everything
0-star
else.
recruit.
Right.
To a Jim Thorpe finalist, dude, in his college career. That's a kid that if we can get him, I would love to have him on our team. He obviously works hard and takes his direction. And Desai's background is defensive backs.
Are we saying that he's the underdog?
Who?
This kid. Is he
He is the
hungry?
underdog.
Right.
So when you're a 0-star recruit after putting up that kind of high school career, it puts a chip on your shoulder.
I'm not going to lie to you.
Ask Jalen Hurts.
In this draft, we need to go in and be like, are you a superstar or an underdog? Because if you're an underdog, Jalen Hurts wants you.
Very true.
You know, he wants to be surrounded with guys with chips on their shoulders.
Rightfully so.
I mean, Kelsey has a chip on his shoulder. Always does. Guy's just
I don't
angry.
even know why. Just a big angry dude.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm not saying I hate it.
And in the off field with his cutoff jean shorts and flip flops, God love that guy.
I love how he walked into the Super Bowl. Everybody's coming in suits and shit. He's just got some
Flip-flops.
T-shirt on that doesn't fit him.
Yep.
Right? Cut off shorts.
Some like
flip-flops,
$2
whatever.
Walmart flip flops. The kind of shit your wife comes home after getting her nails done or her toenails done. Yeah, those kind of flip-flops. It's fucking great. Yeah, just he doesn't care. He doesn't have to.
No, why would you?
No.
I wouldn't put any effort. Married, kids, fuck off.
Well, I mean, that guy walking down the street.
12 years in the league.
Nobody's saying a damn thing to that guy as he walks down the street.
No, except hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Kelsey.
Yeah,
That kind of
exactly.
shit, yeah. All right.
But no, I mean, they need more players with chips on their shoulders. The last thing we need is a high draft pick, prima donna, somebody that thinks they need to know that they're going to come right into the Eagles organization and be immediately humbled.
You worry about that if it's Jalen Carter?
I do.
So do I.
I do. I think that because I think that the team chemistry and everything we've got will absolutely ground him to nothing if he comes in like he's some kind of a superstar or he's owed anything.
Well, and I think what would help if it is Carter is Jordan Davis already played a year there, and they played together at Bama.
Oh, it's good. Yeah,
I'm sorry, Georgia.
Georgia.
So, everybody knows it's Jalen's team. Jalen's the leader. There is no question.
No, he 100% made
He
that
owns the locker room
this year.
Kelsey calls him Mr. Hurts.
Right.
That's Jason Kelsey calling him Mr.
Mr. Hurts.
I think everybody
Well,
knows.
and I mean, you got Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, and AJ Brown already coming out and saying that, it's different. Like, we're best friends.
Yeah. That's what you want.
Right. And so, as Mr. Always Open, he doesn't get mad when he
Swole
doesn't
Batman.
get the ball.
Swole Batman.
Swole Batman.
There's another spot is the slot wide receiver.
Right. What are we doing with that? I mean,
But I'm not. The Quez a little sloppy with
Right.
the football, but that's we can.
did we hold on to the great white hype this year?
Who?
Our wide receiver, the white guy.
Oh, Covey.
Covey, thank
The
you.
punt returner. I don't know. He was that kid. His first game, he parked in the
At the Lake parking lot.
yeah.
It was-
Paid
Oh, no
60.
way, he did?
Yeah. So he goes. So he was
Oh, I
on the
missed
players
that
show at
story.
the Green Legion.
Yeah.
Like the week after, he pulls up and chose to go. I think it was Jake Elliott. He's like, yeah, just follow me in, right to the players' line. We didn't have his pass yet, so the guy, the guard, was like, can't park here. Didn't ready. Guy's like 5'6", 160 pounds. So he goes and parks in a commuter lot, right? The fucking where the tailgaters are at.
Yeah.
Pays $60 and walks in.
No. He had to pay to park.
Paid him park.
I love
Didn't
that.
know who the hell
I
he was.
totally missed that story.
Oh yeah, go back through and see if you can find it. The guest was Britton Covey
Yeah.
on the player show. It's hysterical.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a riot.
Good for him.
Right.
I mean, at least he forked up the money.
I think he's got it.
What? Yeah, that.
Kim check probably
You
cashed in.
think?
He's okay. All right. So probably not going to save time for the baseball crap, which is actually absolutely fine with me because the last thing on my list, I don't know about you, is these quarterback contracts.
All right. So, yeah.
I mean,
But
for
okay.
real, with some of this shit,
I know they're big.
I mean, don't.
But the problem is, so I was actually at lunch today, was at my bar talking to some regulars. And, this conversation came up actually with Daniel Jones.
I'm not ready for Daniel Jones yet. We got to talk Geno first.
All right.
Build the
You
Daniel
want, okay,
Jones.
sorry. We'll get to.
Okay.
All right.
So I think Geno's actually earned it a little bit more. 3 years, $105 million for Geno, right? 52 guaranteed in the first year of the deal. We all know the story of Geno Smith, right?
We do.
39th overall in 2013 with the Jets. 3,000 yards, 12 touchdowns, 21 interceptions.
But it was a miserable
Of
team.
course. But the following year, 2,500 yards, 13 touchdowns, 13 picks in 13 games.
Right.
Biggest claim to fame while with the Jets. Getting his jaw broken after getting decked by his own teammate, landing him on the injured list for 6 to 10 weeks. New York Daily News on page 1. Luck of the jaw. Jets fans rejoice as QB out 6 to 10 weeks. Back page of the New York Post. Jaw and disorder. This was the New York reaction.
Man, but that's what I love about big city papers because we don't get that in Cincinnati.
This was the New York reaction to this kid because they were tired of him. He stunk.
right.
And he was a punk and got his jaw broken in the locker room From 2015 to 2021, he appears in just 15 games, starting 2 while bouncing from the Jets to the Giants to the Chargers, then landing in Seattle.
Right.
Tallies a total of 1,346 yards, 9 touchdowns, 5 of those in 2021, and 3 interceptions. Now you get to 2022. Russ gets traded to Denver. Seattle decides to let Drew Lock and Geno battle for the starting job. All of us said they were out of their minds. Drew Lock and Geno.
Right. Nope, I 100% agree. Out of their minds.
Geno wins it and responds with 4,200 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 11 picks starting all 17 games, leading the goddamn Sea Chickens to a 9-8 record, of course, then getting mauled by the 49ers in that first round.
And they should have.
Through the 2022 season, he had earned a total of $17.55 million in his 10-year career. Now he's got generational wealth.
He does.
One fucking season.
One season.
One season. And a season in which the second half, I would tell you, was not that great.
No, it
That
wasn't.
had a lot more to do with Kenneth Walker than it did Geno Smith.
Okay, so I'll save it until we get to Daniel Jones, but I have a thought process here. You know, and I mean, honestly, it comes down to the fact of, and again, you're more of a college guru than I am. So what do you do here? Do you pay the guy you've got who's shown signs of improvement, this, that, the other, or do you let him go and take your chances in the draft? I have no idea who Geno Smith's backup is.
I think it's still Drew Lock,
Is it still, yeah.
who he beat for the job. So, I mean, I get it. I get it more with Geno because, like you're saying, where was Seattle going to go?
Right.
Right? What was their alternative? Right? And you can say somewhat the same thing with the Giants. Giants,
But the Giants are way deeper in the draft.
well, no, they were a playoff team too. They actually won a playoff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But so this coming, their first round pick is what?
20
Probably
something.
20 something?
Yeah.
Okay, so if there's a stud quarterback to be had, chances are he's not falling to you.
No, you could trade up. You could.
You could trade him, but with what?
Look,
Again,
dude,
the Giants don't have that luxury.
Daniel Jones is not a luxury.
I get it. But Daniel Jones, okay, so let's just move on now.
Let's
Now
move
we're
on
going
to Daniel Jones.
now we're going to okay, so
Do you agree that Geno deserved it more? 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
Yeah.
Starts all 17.
yeah,
Yes.
crowd saying yes.
I don't think it's even close.
I mean, no, I don't think it's even
You
close.
got 3 years of Daniel to see 1 year of Geno, and he stepped up into 1 year.
He did. He did step it up. You're right.
4 years of Jones.
Wait, but now my thing is this is, you know, I mean, they both knew it was a contract year. So,
Well, the Giants elected not to give Jones the 5th-year option
right.
before the season, right? So they somewhat put themselves in this position.
Well, yeah, they did. They always shoot themselves in the knee.
It's the NFC East version of the Factory of Sadness.
No, that's Washington.
That's Washington.
Sorry,
As long
I
as that
just-
owner's there, of course.
Yeah, no, let's just put, blame where blame is.
Daniel Jones, 4 years, $160 million.
Okay, so this is exactly what we were talking about at lunch today, right? And so the way I see it, Daniel Jones had a good year. He's mobile. He got him there.
Show me his good year.
This year was a decent year.
Was it?
All right, stats
3,200
guy.
yards, 15 touchdowns.
All right,
He
how
had
many?
a 1.1 interception rate. He was 28th in touchdown percentage.
I get it.
He threw for 3,200 yards. So all these Giants fans are trying to sell you on, he was great this year. No, he was just better than he had been. He had
And
nowhere to
Saquon was
go
back.
but up. And Saquon,
When Saquon was back. You're right.
The
Saquon,
smartest move the Giants made yesterday was tagging Saquon.
yes.
That was the smartest move.
No, 100%. And we all know that. We all know that.
Tell me
There's
15
no
touchdown
way.
passes?
There's no way you don't tag Saquon because you don't have to give him the massive contract that he should get. You can just pay him
The average of the top
top five and call it a day.
which comes out to, I think, somewhere around 10 mil.
But still, I think that they did this because they were afraid to lose Daniel Jones because of the fear of the unknown. And honestly, I mean, these quarterback contracts have gotten so out of control.
Well, that's kind of the point of this whole thing. It's not so
Right.
much the Barry Jones and Geno. It's like all of these guys, and Lamar Jackson's another one.
Right.
He deserves to get paid. But it's not the slam dunk it was a couple of years ago.
No,
Since that MVP
because they figured him out.
Since that MVP season, he has regressed significantly as a passer. He's also missed 10 games over the last 2 years. And the fact that he wasn't even there on the sideline for that playoff game
that
was the
some
nail in
bullshit.
the coffin for that shit. That's
But
piss
no,
poor.
he was leaving.
All of these things with Lamar and his Lamar wants all these guys are comparing themselves to the factory of sadness, giving Watson that 230 guaranteed. And the rest of these owners have got to make these quarterbacks understand, guys, that's an outlier and a stupid owner.
Right.
That's the exception, not the rule.
No, 100%.
And the Giants and the Seahawks and somebody with Lamar Jackson is going to continue that trend.
Yeah.
And it's going to get worse. And the reason why it fires me up so much is
because
we actually have an MVP candidate quarterback.
I know, and it's about to
who is going to need to get paid.
Oh.
The Cincinnati Bengals have an MVP candidate quarterback who's going to need to get paid. The Chargers are going to have to pay Justin Herbert a good amount of money. This is going to continue. Now,
no, it's not going to stop.
Daniel Jones, it's 4 years, $160 million. It's $82 million over the first 2 years. You're basically guaranteeing $94 million.
Right.
He's got $35 million in incentives that he can hit too. Really, this contract is a 2-year contract because you're not going past that where it's going to be end-loaded and extreme and kill your cap. So he's got 2 years. All my friends that are Giants fans who buried this whole talk about Daniel Jones and 40 to 45 million were jumping for joy yesterday over this contract. One of my friend Eric I can't wait to see what the Eagles pay a Super Bowl losing quarterback. I'm like, as opposed to what? $160 million for a guy who threw 15 fucking touchdown passes last year? I don't care what your running ability is.
But it's got to be more about the fear of the unknown and what they can't get in the draft to replace him. I mean, maybe they do draft a quarterback this year.
I don't think Daniel Jones is a guy that you can't replace with like Tyrod Taylor. I don't think of Daniel Jones.
Okay.
Jacoby Brissett.
Right. But in Giants fans' eyes this year, this was a winning year. We made the playoffs.
Yes, and you beat the worst defense in the league and the biggest fraud freaking number 2.
I get it.
Seed in the
and we all agree with that. But all they see is we made the playoffs and Daniel Jones got us there.
What they need to do. So now they've made the investment.
So their front office, no, it's great. I mean, let them, please.
And I'm not knocking either of these guys for getting their money. Let's get that first and foremost. I want the players to go get as much as they possibly
can. As much as you want. Right? Absolutely.
Earned it. There's only 32 of these jobs on the planet. Somebody's always trying to take it from you. If you can go get paid, go get paid.
Yeah, and all these owners own billion-dollar teams.
Right.
And
billionaires giving money to millionaires. That's all it is. Baseball's the same thing.
But
the Giants, now if they're smart, which we all hope they're not, they've made the investment in the kid. They've tagged Barkley. You have to go and get a stud wide receiver. They tried it with Galladay. Look, Galladay had 2 really good years in Detroit with Stafford throwing him the ball. Goes to the Giants and stinks. Is that a scheme thing and back and forth with coordinators, or is that because Daniel Jones isn't that good of a quarterback? It's probably a little bit of both. They need to go get a stud. And I don't want to hear about it through the draft if I'm a Giants fan.
Well, sure.
I don't need a rook. I need a veteran stud wide receiver that I can trade for that on third down when Blue's Clues starts getting footsteps and panics because Josh Sweat or Hassan Reddick is coming to deck his ass.
Well, but
he's got somewhere to dump that ball and say, my guy's going to get it.
Okay, now, that being said, you say that. Is there an A.J. Brown?
No.
Coming up in the league this year that they can go get? No.
You know who could be for sale is Calvin Ridley.
Okay, yeah, Calvin Ridley could be for sale. But I still don't think he's that guy.
Of course, if I'm the Bears, I'm hogging up everybody who's for sale that I can get my hands on.
Right.
But the Giants now have invested in this kid.
They have.
For at least 2 years in a big money deal. You've got to go get him a go-to number one.
Well, you do. You have to surround him.
You
100%. You have to surround him.
You've got Saquon. Provided he's healthy, he's still probably the most dynamic running back in the league. Provided he's healthy. You've tagged him. He's going to make his $10 million this year if he decides to play or if he bitches and wants a contract. I think it was the non-exclusive tag, was it? Kenny, do you know that one?
I don't know that one.
Because the difference is if it's
Kenny, you're about to be on the show next week.
If it's the non-exclusive tag, then he can negotiate with other teams. If he signs somewhere else, the Giants don't match. They have to give the Giants 2 first-round picks.
Yes.
Right? Which is what I thought they were going to do with Jones.
Right.
And sign Saquon. They just flipped it the other way. This is what they felt like doing.
And then bridge like a Jacoby Brissett.
That's the
or
way
somebody.
I'd have let Daniel Jones walk for that price.
4 years. show what you had.
I just don't. But you let Daniel Jones walk. What are you doing?
But what are you doing with it? That's my point. Is I don't see him as that much better
Pick him up.
than
He's
a
gonna be a
Brissett
Carson Wentz.
or a Taylor, somebody that can be that same guy. for
But just
less
like
money.
Carson Wentz, somebody will pick him up. I mean, granted, Carson Wentz is done now.
Done. That ship is
Like,
sailed. It's over.
It's done now.
I had to throw that out there, though.
I know. No, I love that.
I take your Carson Wentz shots,
Yeah,
and I deserve all of it because I defended that kid way longer than I should have.
and we all did.
Yeah, I know. But
Then, granted, I'm the guy that defended Chip Kelly too, so my credibility's right out the window.
nobody's perfect. So
I mean, I don't know. Yes, no. I mean, quarterback contracts are out of control, and they are. And you're like you said, it did start with the Factory of Sadness.
yeah,
And the contract they paid for that guy that they couldn't even put on the field.
well, they not just even the contract. They gave up 3 first-round picks, 2 fourth-round picks, and a third.
Oh, Houston loved it. Houston was like,
And then they
woo!
gave 5 years a guaranteed $230 million contract with a record cap hit of $54,993,000 in 2023.
Boom.
Factory of Sadness always delivers.
Always delivers. I love them. They're the boner of the week.
They're the
They're the
boner,
boner
of,
of,
they're the
like,
boner of the millennium.
century, millennium. Yeah, you name it. You name it. I got friends that are Cleveland fans, and I'm like, oh, you poor bastards.
Well, you get my wife. Her whole family's from up there.
Yeah,
They're all Browns fans.
yeah.
My mother-in-law was disgusted. I'm like, yo, I got a form you can fill out.
I mean, every now and then, like, I don't think it was last year, but I think it was the year before. I was like, Cleveland's looking kind of tasty. Like, maybe they're going to make a run. Maybe they're no.
Oh, they went and won that playoff game with Baker,
Yes.
beat Pittsburgh,
Right.
finally exercising some demons, and then you just kick Baker to the curb.
Yeah.
And you bring in this kid who the only thing he's been able to the only real wins he's had is in court cases.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's it.
He's got more court case victories than he does NFL victories.
Right.
And you gave him $230 million guaranteed. So I don't blame Jackson Jones and all these other guys for wanting the money. But like I said, these owners have got the guys. You got to be realistic here. The Browns are just stupid.
They're dumb.
They're just stupid. They're the factory of sadness for a reason. I would flat tell players that.
And by the way, we quoted, and that's our phrase right now. We should trademark the Factory of Sadness.
Factory of sadness. Right after
We
we
need
figure out how to trademark with Midwest Eagles.
Yes, I know. We need a TM. Because the Factory of Sadness, I kind of started in my fantasy football league,
Yeah.
which he was a part of. And they're all Bengals fans because we're here in Cincinnati. And so they just refuse to say the word Browns. So everything is just the Factory of Sadness. When anybody drafts a Browns player, the word Cleveland and Browns is never stated. It's just from the Factory of Sadness, I'm going to draft, so-and-so.
That draft was a lot of fun.
It was great.
That was awesome.
It was great. You're getting back in with me this year.
These guys, I mean, it's out. You do it outside with this big board, and the guy who finishes last has to be Vanna.
Oh, yeah,
next
yeah,
year.
yeah.
So you got the guy being Vanna White with all the names up.
Names.
Keep one keeper or whatever
Yes.
it is. Yeah, that was a blast. I was drunk.
You
Why
should
you left me there?
Yes.
You didn't even stick around. I gotta
No,
go.
you should have been there the year we did our 20-year anniversary because that league's actually been around for 20 years. They used to do it by newspaper. So for the 20-year anniversary, we actually rented a limo and rented a bar out for 7 hours
And did the draft
that
in
doesn't
limo.
exist. No, we did the draft in the bar. The limo picked us all up
Oh, okay.
because we hired a stripper to be the bartender. And so we had the stripper as the bartender in this bar that we completely blocked out for 5 hours from 1 o'clock in the afternoon till 6 o'clock at night.
I'm proud of all my friends today.
Yeah. And I'm just going to tell you right now, there's things that I can't, even though this is social media and I know this isn't regulated by the FCC.
No, it's not. This is a podcast.
Yep.
Have at it, bro.
I know, man. I can't say what went on when you have a stripper for a bartender.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
you've,
better leave that one.
yeah, man, you've got 12 guys.
I do crack jokes about family atmosphere, but
Oh,
it's
no.
probably best for when we're
No,
off the air.
off the air, I'll tell you stories about this bullshit that went down. I mean, this is out of control. The police should have been called. But anyway.
You can make that argument on some Sundays up here, too.
Yeah, that's true, too. That is true. But no, I mean, no, quarterback contracts are out of
You're
control.
nuts. The owners
And-
have to get a leash.
But it's
on it
only
too
going to get
much.
worse. I don't know. I don't know where they
Because
put
the
a cap
problem
on that.
Somebody's always going to pay it.
Right.
So if
Somebody's always going to want that
Jeff
guy.
and Howie say we're drawing the line, Jalen's going to sign somewhere else. and somebody's going to give him that money.
Okay, but
I'm just using that as an example.
But I mean, that's legit of the fact that he deserves that money. So I get it. You know, the Russell Wilson thing, I don't know. I don't know anybody else that would have paid that kind of money for a guy that can't even play half the season for you.
Well, look at Lamar Jackson.
Right.
He missed 10 games in the last 2 seasons.
Right.
Lamar Jackson, I'll tell you this. Lamar Jackson would probably already have his contract, be it with the Ravens or somewhere else, if he had an actual agent, not his mother.
Oh, wait.
Also,
Oh,
yeah, you
I didn't know that.
It's his mother.
His mom's his agent?
Yeah. Mommy! I want my woman!
I want my Campbell soup.
That's it.
No, shut up.
It ain't as bad as McNabb, but yeah, no. He's already got his money, and I also promise you, he would have been on the sideline for that playoff game if he's got an actual agent.
Is his mom a lawyer?
His agent would have smacked him around. I don't know the
All
background.
right, we need to do
Here's
research into his
Here's
mom.
what I can tell you. His mother does not have the connections across the league.
Anybody out there know Lamar's mom?
That's a little fucked up.
Oh, man.
That might be a little much.
I'm just curious. Anybody got any background info on Lamar's mom? You know Lamar's mom?
You sure she wasn't the stripper at your fantasy draft?
No, I know that chick. I mean, I don't know her, Angie. I don't know her.
Earmuffs, Angie.
I don't know that stripper girl.
Yo. Have the cannoli.
Have the canola.
I think we've covered enough ground for one night, my brother.
I know we have. We've had a good time.
All right, guys. Fito, thank you for coming on. I know you get busy with work. Dave Conant, always great to have you in. Russ, who else was in here? I missed a bunch at the beginning. Sam, this is another one from our nest here.
Hi, Sam.
Lou Mancini,
See you at the Phillies game.
David Califoot, and the rest of the cast. 305 Sports Babe, and the rest of the cast of characters. This has been the Unhappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio, part of the Green Legion Radio family. We thank you for joining us as always. We will see you next week, hopefully from back here, so I can give people another chance to pay for their freaking Phillies tickets. I said Phillies this time.
You did say Phillies. Thank you.
If not, then we'll figure something else out. Y'all, you got anything you want to close with?
No, I'm good. Is this the part where we play the sweet rock music?
Oh, fuck off. Sam Rush, if you're listening, you really need to help me with some goddamn music on this thing. You guys are getting ruthless with this shit. Anyways, you guys have a great week.
Hip hop? No, play the dance pop.
I'm not playing that shit.
Acoustic cinematic.
Stop it.
Acoustic cinematic.
Fine, acoustic cinematic will take us out. Guys, have a great week. We'll talk to you next Wednesday. And as always, go Birds!
Go Birds!
I'm sorry about Mike's choice of the acoustic cinematic there. That was worse than the fucking rock music. You guys have a great week.
I
We'll talk
just
to you
felt
soon.
like it brought us closer together.
Mike's drunk. Y'all have a great week, guys. We love you.